Hey everyone, I wanted to make a 3D probe video for the Carvera Air just because I was constantly wondering how to use it, and a lot of the great folks, Ferris, Pew Pew, everyone had given me some good advice on the Discord channel, and in return I said I'd make a YouTube video. So just a note, I am a complete noob, new to CNC and all that good stuff, so if there's things in here you see are wrong, please tell me and I'll try to fix it and learn. But this is mainly about the 3D probe. I'm also going to touch on the pendant because I use that as well, and you'll see it and there'll be questions. And I also use Fusion too. So there will be links in the description below to all the files, things for Fusion, the post processor, tutorials on the pendant, tutorials on the 3D probe that Faye had posted that I've used. Also, any products I use in here, EndMills and all that, I will do links in the description as well. So first, all sets is done by your setup in Fusion. To do that, you just click New Setup. And by the way, I'm just making a simple T-slot nut, so it's nothing fancy. Not going to go into the modeling, but I had to make this anyways, and it was a good example because I'm doing two setups, and I'll explain that. So in here, you would do a new setup, and in the machine, you would select your Carvera third axis, which I've already done, so I'll go to my first setup. I like to name them, setup one, top, whatever works for you. So the important part with the 3D probe, there's many ways to use it. What I'm going to talk about is like setting your world coordinate. Currently in the Carvera Air, you use the normal probe to scan the outside, and it's kind of guessing where it is because it's never perfect. Or you use their other XYZ probe, and I found that the Z messes up every time. And especially when you're flipping, it's hard to get it perfectly accurate that way, where the 3D probe I found does it perfectly. So you first set your world coordinate system, which is WCS, and I'm doing mine in the upper left corner of my stock. This yellow box is my stock. My vise in the first setup is going to be on this horizontal side, holding left and right of that stock. And so this is a great first start to put it. You can swap these like this, but Y is going to the back of the machine, X is going to the front of the machine. You've set that, you can change your stock size. Mine, I had a piece of aluminum sitting there that was 100 mil. I just was lazy, didn't want to cut it. So I set my size to fix. You can also do relative, which would just size it based around your part. But I'm doing it based on this, and you'll see because I'm going to do some extra cuts, things like that. So you can then move it within the machine. This is the model that kind of imports with some of the setup files that you can download. I usually put it over this left corner, and then I move it up because my vise is moving it up. All that doesn't matter too much. The reason why I move it up is that if I don't have it up, when I go past it with my tooling, it will think it's hitting the board and give you an error. But ultimately, what we're going to do with the 3D probe here is match our WCS based on where we actually put our vise on our board. And I will be putting my vise somewhere around here, but I don't have to move this to it, because what it's going to say is once I probe it is, oh, okay, your world coordinate needs to start wherever it is on that I probe it, and it will just move all of this to that place. So I won't go too much into all my paths, and there's probably way better ways to do it because I'm not good at it, but I will do all my different cutting paths. I always suggest and learn to go in to do a simulate after, verify that there's no errors, you're not hitting the stock or whatever, and you'll see I'm going to do a bunch of clearing at first. These are just adaptive passes. And then I'll do a bore hole and a threading, and then I'm going to clear this stock on either side, because you'll see when we flip our part over, I need this space to clamp our vise on either side of the model, which I'll show you now. One of the other things I learned, I always thought I had to flip my model to do a second setup, but you don't. All you need to do is, before you create the setup, is you flip this kind of as you would in your thing and flip it over, and then you do create new setup. and it will actually know that you're flipping over. It's kind of cool little deal. When we're setting this up, I'm going to probe on our second setup out of this borehole we created. So I'm going to select that center, and I'm going to flip our Z. Again, you would want to make sure your Y and X are facing in the right way. Since we flipped this, but it's still in the same position in our bed, I am again going to select this face, and not select, but clamp from this face to this face with our vise. So I'll actually, and you'll see in the video, I'll move our vise when we do it. Go to our first, there it is, and you'll see it will automatically flip, which is nice. And you'll see now we're here in our part. It doesn't matter where this is because we're going to line it up later. And then I'll do a simulation here as well. You can see we're going to cut these pieces off and then do a final finishing pass. So once you've done this, you will then right click on setup, and you're going to go to post process. And in here, you're going to make sure whatever operations you want to save into this file, you're going to click. I usually do my setups as separate files, just helps me separate each thing. And I'm going to switch my vise and do that. You could do it all in one. And then once you're done here, you would save your file name and choose your location that you're going to do it. I've already saved these, so I'm not going to do it again, but you would do that, name it, and hit post. And when you do, I'll do it just so you can see. It will tell you down here that it was successful. I would then go ahead and do the same thing for my second. Again, you could do it all as one file if you want. Make sure that which ones all your operations are selected. You hit post. It's going to ask me to overwrite because we just named one, but we're going to say no for now. So yeah, we will end here in the app. I will then take you guys through the Carvera Community Controller, which you need to download. There'll be a link for that as well. And then show you through how to probe both setups and the whole process. So hopefully this is helpful. I'm sure there's a lot of things I do wrong, but this is at least the basic and learned and made me happy once I got this probe because it made everything easier. So thanks for checking this out. We'll continue as I go out into the shop. Okay, we're out in the shop now. And we're going to go through everything on the computer. And we'll also go over everything in the Carvera. I do like to set up all my tools. I just write them down, so I don't have to look them up on the computer. Go ahead and turn on our Carvera. And so you'll see it. I don't have it wired. I do everything wireless because it uploads faster. Don't ask me why, but it does. So go ahead and turn on our machine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get our vise and set that up. So I'll grab my vise here. Okay, we're going to set this up. Again, it doesn't matter where we put this on here. You're just going to find a place that you like because when we probe, it will match up what the probe tells it is on our base plate and match that with the world coordinate center. So here we go. And this is the Saunders Mills mod vise. And I love it. Make sure these are nice and snug because I have had it come loose before. We've got our stock that you saw set up in there. It's 100 mil by 25.4 either way. So when you're doing this, there's a little lip here. You want to get it in there. It doesn't matter where vertically on the Z. So now that this is here, we're going to push this forward. And push it as far forward as you can. Snug these down. Extra tight. Tighten these down. It should cinch it. That's nice and tight. It will lift up the machine. Okay, guys, we're back. We're here in the Carvera Community Controller.
I'm going to plug in my pendant. I'll also show that on screen as well. And then we're also going to plug in our 3D probe. So I'll do that now.
I've made a bunch of these Gridfinity bins. I'll post these as well on MakerWorld, but nice to hold all the tools, all my EndMills, little slots, pallets, everything, all the tools. So my 3D probe, I'm going to make a holder on the machine. But we'll go ahead and throw that on. I also made a little sliding drawer for my machine so I can get to it easier, get to the back. Also, when I'm using the pendant or whatever from my computer, I can line up from the side a little bit easier, not having to stick my head inside the machine. Get our 3D probe. You can buy these AliExpress, Amazon. There's also a nicer brand called PG Fun. Links will be in the description. I am using the 6mm collet right now.
All right, we're going to go and upload our first setup. I'm going to do setup 1, upload. And I did notice sometimes when I do upload and select, it fails. And I get less fails when I just do regular upload. And then I select it. Don't know why, but a bunch of people have worked hard on this, so not knocking the app. It is great. Now that we're in here, we're going to upload or select our file that we uploaded. Hit select. Should show up here. What we're first going to do is click this little icon, our settings icon, and uncheck scan and auto because we're going to do that with our 3D probe. And then we're going to go into 3D probing. It's right here. Make sure we have our probe selected and calibrated, meaning to touch the sensor in the back.
Just get the Z depth of it.
So it knows how long it is. Click probing, and we're going to go to outside corners. And I'm going to move the probe over that left corner.
Into position, so you can see I'm using this to move it. You can also use the buttons in the Carvera app. This is much easier. You can also run some macros off of it. And you will set up some offsets in the app, which I will show. But basically I'm doing about 10 mil. Right above this corner, because that was where our WCS or work coordinate was.
Now we're going to probing. As you see, we have our probe set there. You can set these 10 mil, 10 mil. You can change these to whatever you want, your offset. And then make sure you click this, the S0 WCS access to XY. I've tried the Z and it gives me an error halt message every time, so I'll show you how to do that separate. So once you do that, you click this and you confirm and it will probe. Go ahead and start and you'll see it'll go down, touch that left corner, come touch that corner. And now it has matched our world coordinate center system with where that is on our base plate. So then we'll go single axis and we're going to do Z. First, I'm going to move my probe over the stock. There it is. I'm going to change it because I think I have it about 6 mils up. Let's go ahead and click that, hit start. And it's going to go ahead and check for it. So now our Z and our XY world coordinate should be set. And then we'll be able to close this and go in, and we'll hit run and start our process. Put it in, click the button at the top of the Carvera. Close the lid so I don't throw chips everywhere. exactly where we knew it would be. Should match up with the app, like what we saw in Fusion. That 3D probe saves a lot of time. It is much more accurate than trying to guess that laser outline scan. I've had a lot of issues, especially on the second setup, where it's just off by a millimeter. We are going to switch our setups now to setup 2. And we'll show it on the computer as well once we get there, but we're going to go ahead and remove our part, and we're going to change the vise. Part's looking pretty good. Okay, so putting our vise back on doesn't matter where, because we're going to use the 3D probe to find it. The way we set it up the first time. But just so you remember, we're going to clamp here and here. But our part's still in the same orientation. I'm not rotating it, which we could, but we don't need to. But I just flipped it. It's tight in there. Okay, now we're going to jump on the computer and do that setup. Back in the app, we are going to select or upload our file. Setup 2 flip, upload, close, and then we will just select that one. We are going to get our probe first. We're going to calibrate it. Now that it's calibrated, we're going to get it in position. So you put it down in that hole. I think you can see it there. Hopefully, yep. I'll zoom in for you. And then back in the app, we got to make sure all our configs are turned off before we do this. And then we go into our probing, and we're going to come up here and select bore pocket, and we are going to do this XY here. I have just a 2 mil offset because it's a smaller hole. I think it was 5 mil total. So click that, and then we hit start, and you'll see it's going to go and touch all sides of that hole. Okay, so there it went ahead and set. And now we're going to go back to single axis. We're going to move our probe back out of the hole. We're going to move it over to the side, and we're going to do a Z probe now. So go ahead and click here, start. Great. So now our WCS should be set for our second setup. And we are going to go ahead and run it. All right, so that should be it. We're going to take our part out. Take the tools off first, just so we don't cut our hands on accident. The thing I had an issue with was always when you flip your setups, everything's offset a little bit, and this is quite perfect because you're not guessing where the part is. Yeah, it's just a simple little, no chamfers or anything, just do a little fillets on the side, but that's about it. Yeah, so hopefully this helped you.